Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to week number 28 of remote learning. We are switching gears from area and multiplication and division and all that kind of stuff, and now we're moving towards fractions. Now we will be using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division within our fractions, but we're going to be just I just want to get your brain ready to realize that we're going to be doing some fraction work now. So we're going to begin by comparing fractions using visual models. And yes, I did skip around, so now we're on to module 11, but we will revisit the modules we have missed. I want to put them in a different order, so this is where we're headed. So you're going to be able to compare fractions using visual models. So you'll use visual models to compare two fractions with different numerators and denominators. Now I want to remind you, when you have a fraction, so say you have the fraction 1/2, the top part of your fraction, that is your numerator. The bottom part of your fraction, that is your denominator. So when you hear those two words, numerator and denominator, they should signify a different part of the fraction. So numerator is the top, denominator is the bottom part of your fraction. Okay? And we're going to be comparing two fractions that will have different numerators and denominators, and we're going to need to figure out which one is bigger and which one is smaller. Okay? So we're going to do that with pictures to start with. So Liz and Alvin have the same type of go-kart in different colors. The fuel tank in Liz's go-kart is 3/5 full. The fuel tank in Alvin's go-kart is 1/3 full. Whose go-kart has more fuel? So we know that Liz, hers is 3/5 full. Alvin's is 1/3 full. So let's look at Liz. What we'll do is we will draw a rectangle. And you can draw your rectangle in any way. You can draw it lengthwise, you can draw it height-wise, whichever way you want to. And since Liz's go-kart is 3/5 full, I'm going to need to break up my bar model in fifths. Okay? So I need 5 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're pretty close to equal, right? As close as I can get them without using a ruler. And then we know that it is 3/4 full. So I'm going to shade in to demonstrate how much Liz's go-kart has. So let me get you can just use your pencil, but I'm going to use, just so you can see the different color, so I think it'll stand out a little better. So 1, 2, 3 fifths. So this shows me that this is 3/5 full. Now I have Alvin. Now I need to have, their tanks are the same. Their tanks are the same size. So I need to make Alvin's tank the same size as Liz's tank. Now, I'm not going to make Alvin's tank bigger or smaller, because then I'm not going to be able to compare the fractions correctly. So in order to compare the fractions correctly, your two models have to be the same size. Okay, that's going to be a big deal. And Alvin's go-kart is 1/3 full. So I need to break up his go-kart fuel tank in 3 equal pieces. And his was 1/3 full, so I'm only going to shade in 1 piece. So now comparing our shaded portions, and because our rectangles are the same size, I can visually see that 3/5 is greater than 1/3. So the fraction 3/5 is greater than the fraction 1/3. So that means Liz's go-kart has more fuel. And I can see that visually right with the picture. So the biggest thing about this is to make sure that your models are the same size and that you are separating them as close to equal as you can. Okay? If you have fifths, as close to 5 equal pieces as you can. Thirds, as close to 3 equal pieces as you can. And so on and so forth. Okay? Our next question. So there are 2 go-kart tracks. Which is the shorter track? Use a fraction model to represent the length of each track. Then draw visual models for your representations. So we can see that track A is 4/5 of a mile. And track B is 7/8 of a mile. So I'm going to draw a hole, right? This is going to be track A. And then I'm going to draw another one that is the same length, remember. And this one's going to be track B. Okay? So first, track A is 4/5 of a mile. So I need to break this up into 5 equal pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I'm doing 5 equal pieces, I'm going to draw one less line than how many pieces I need. So for example, because I need 5 pieces, I'm going to draw 4 lines because I already have a starting and an ending line. So that's why I'm doing that. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And this track A is 4/5 of a mile long. So I'm going to shade in 4 of the sections. So there's 4/5 of the track. Track B is 7/8 miles long. So I need to break this into eighths. The best way I know how to do anything that's even is going to be, first I'm going to split it in half. And because I'm doing eighths, I'm going to split it in half again. There's my fourths. And split it in half again. And I will have eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? That's the easiest way to, oops, my line wasn't very straight. The easiest way to if you have an even number as your denominator. Okay? Do it in half and then keep doing halves until you get to how many pieces you need. And we're going to shade in 7 of those pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this one's a little close, but we can see from our picture, look at our 7/8 is just a little bit longer than our 4/5. So we know that track B is longer than track A. So track B is greater than track A, which means that 7/8 is greater than 4/5. Okay? Now we're not going to write sentences for our answers for our questions because we just did all of this work up here in this box. Okay? So you can go ahead and cross that out. But which track is shorter? Track A is shorter. Right? Because 4/5 is less than 7/8. So track A is shorter. Okay? Alrighty. It takes Jack 3/4 of an hour to fix a tire. It takes Renee 2/3 of an hour to fix a tire. Who takes a longer time to fix a tire? All right, so this one already gave us our visual models. Look at that. We didn't even have to draw them and separate them. That makes it nice and easy. So first we're going to complete the visual models. So we know that Jack takes 3/4 of an hour, and Renee takes 2/3 of an hour. So we can see they already broke Jack's up into 4 equal pieces. So we need 3 of those shaded in. Okay. And then Renee is 2/3. So Renee's model has 1, 2, 3 pieces, and I want to shade 2 of them. So we can see that Jack is just this little, see if I were to draw this line, this little bit longer than Renee. So that tells me that 3/4 is greater than 2/3. Okay, so 3/4 is greater than 2/3. So it takes Jack longer time to change the tire. So it takes Jack longer to fix a tire because 3/4 is greater than 2/3. Alrighty, our next one. So now we're going to go to the check for understanding. So Emma fills 3/5 of a jug with water. She fills 4/6 of a same size jug with sports drink. Does Emma pour more water or more sports drink? Well, they've given us our visual models already. So we know that Emma has 3/5 water and 4/6 sports drink. So the water is 3/5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 pieces. I changed the color up so you can see it a little bit better. So 1, 2, 3 pieces I need to shade in. Sports drink is 4/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can see that there are 6 pieces in the whole thing, and we need to shade in 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this one's super close as well. So we have 4, 6. So we can see this is where the sports drink goes, right? As compared to where the water stopped. That's where the water stopped. So that means there is more sports drink than water. So Emma pours more sports drink than water, which means that 4/6 is greater than 3/5. Okay, now we're coming down here. Now, personally, I am not a fan of circles when we are doing fractions. Circles are very hard to break up into equal pieces, especially if you have an odd number. Thankfully, we have even numbers as our denominators, as how many pieces we need, so it shouldn't be as bad, but I don't recommend using circles. I recommend to use rectangles all the time. Okay? It makes it hard, but this book likes to use circles sometimes, which is fine because it shows that you can break things up equally or in the pieces, all kinds of different shapes. However, that's not my favorite way for students to use as an example to draw their models. So I would really prefer you to use a rectangle. Okay? But since we have circles, we're going to do it, and they're even denominators, so that's how many we need to break it up. So it is easier to do in an even number, because if we're going to do eighths, we can cut it in half, cut it in half again. Remember, just like we did with our rectangle. And then cut it in half again. And if I cut it in half 4 times, then I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. And notice, see, I didn't go right directly in the middle, so see, my pieces aren't perfectly the same size. And it's hard as a visual to line them up. So that's another reason why it's not my preferred method of breaking up or drawing your fractions to compare them. All right, so I need to shade in 3 of these pieces because it's 3/8. And then our 2/4, we just need 4 pieces. So I'm just going to draw 2 lines because now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, and I need to shade in 2 of them. So thankfully this one's fairly easy to look at and see because 8ths and 4ths, you're going to find out later on, are going to work really well together because 4ths are half of 8ths and 8ths are double 4ths. But when I look at these, I can see that 3/8 is less than 2/4. I have less when I have 3/8 than if I have 2/4. Alrighty, so now we're going to move to our squares. Again, not my favorite way to compare, but we will do it. So we have 1/3 and 1/12. So I'm going to break my square into 1/3, and I'm going to shade 2 of them. And then 1/12, again, this makes it difficult, but one way you can show 1/12 is, so we're going to go half, half, so there's 4ths, half, 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 half. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ugh. 9, 10. I see, this is why I don't like squares. 11, 12. They're just not very good. So we're going to shade in 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, this one's going to be hard to see. They're not lined up on top of each other and they're sideways. And it's just not my favorite way to do this. However, you can kind of see, this is really difficult to see, and I apologize because, again, I don't like squares. So actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to make our own. Because again, this is not how I like teaching with all these different shapes. So we're going to start with our 2/3. So we're going to break this up into 3 pieces. Okay? And we're shading in 2 of them. And then we want 1/12. So we're going to go in half, but then I need 3 on this side, 3 on this side. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if I split those in half again, see how much easier that is? So much easier. And now for my 7/12, especially because visually you can see it better when they're on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? Because you couldn't see that with that other one. So if they give you a model that you don't want to use, draw your own. That's my suggestion. So we can see, look at 2/3 is that much more, right, than 7/12. So that tells me that 2/3 is greater than 7/12. You can't see that in this model, right? This model is too difficult. Draw them like that. So much easier. All right. Sorry about that, but this actually was good, so you can see that this is difficult. Squares are not easy to break up. Rectangles, that is so much better. All right, so now we're on the on your own section. Again, if you want to do it independently and then come back and check your answers, go ahead. Or if you want to stay with me and do them together, you are welcome to do that. Okay. Mark eats 5/8 of a granola bar. Harold eats 4/6 of the same size granola bar. Use fraction strips to show the amount each person eats. Draw the fraction strips used for each person. Who eats less of his granola bar? All right, so Mark is 5/8. So I need to break this up into eighths. I have an even number as my denominator. So I can split it in half. And because I want eighths, I could do fourths. So I could do a half again. And then half another time. And that gives me eighths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. Now I need to shade in 5 of those pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My colored pencil needs some sharpening. Okay. Now Harold, he eats 4/6 of his. So again, I'm going to break it in half. So see how easy that is to go half. So now I know this is exactly half. Okay. But I need sixths. So I'm going to do thirds. See how thirds are not going to line up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to shade 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we can see that 4/6 is just a little bit bigger than 5/8. So who ate less of their granola bar? Mark ate less. So this picture shows me that 5/8 is, whoops, sorry, my symbol's wrong, less than 4/6. Quinn and Kelly are painting a wall. Quinn paints 1/2 of the wall. Kelly paints less than Quinn. Draw a visual model to show the part of the wall that Kelly could paint. Write the fraction that it shows. So we see that Quinn paints half of the wall. We could choose whatever fraction we want for Kelly. We want to show that it is less than Quinn. So what could we break this up into? Well, we could break it up into thirds, fourths, fifths, sixths, right? And we're going to choose whatever we want for Kelly. So I'm going to do thirds. And I'm going to shade in 1/3 because this picture shows me that 1/3 is less than 1/2 because the piece is smaller, right? So 1/3 is less than 1/2. So you get to pick whatever you want. I just randomly picked thirds. Okay? And we're going to complete the visual models. I, again, am not a fan, but they broke them up, so we'll see how it goes. So if we have 7/10, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 pieces, and we need to shade 7 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 6/8, and we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are shaded in, or are broken up into. So then we're going to shade 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can see visually that, look at how much is left, and then you've got this much left. So 6/8 is greater than 7/10. And again, I'm not a circle fan, but they already broke it up for us, so we'll go with it. So 5/6. So I need to shade in 5 of these pieces. 1, 2, 3, And then 4/5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need to shade in 4 of them. One thing I'm noticing, the smaller the denominator, the bigger the pieces, right? The bigger the denominator, that bottom number, the smaller the pieces. So when we broke this up, or when they broke this up, we could see that you need more pieces, right, for 6, and you need less pieces for 5ths. And these pieces are smaller than these pieces. So that would mean that this is bigger than that. So that means that 4/5 is smaller than 5/6, because these pieces, even though this piece, so if this piece is bigger, that means there is less, right, shaded in than over here. So the bigger the number on the bottom, the smaller the pieces. The smaller the number on the bottom, the bigger the pieces, if that helps a little bit. So, excuse me, you are going to do the work for the independent work. I would again suggest, please, when they ask you to draw a model, to draw rectangles. I know they're going to give you some circles, but please do the rectangles. That's the easiest way. You can go ahead and do the whole thing and then return it to me at school. So 11.1. All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.